The 1980s was a decade of transition for the automotive industry, especially for muscle cars. The oil crisis, stricter emissions regulations, and changing consumer preferences forced many manufacturers to downsize their engines and adopt new technologies. However, some vehicles still delivered impressive performance and speed despite the challenges. In this video, I will introduce the 9 quickest muscle cars of the 1980s based on their quarter-mile time. The 1985 Oldsmobile 442 was not as powerful or fast as its predecessors, but it was still a respectable performer for its time. It had a 307 cubic inch V8 engine that produced 180 horses, a 4-speed automatic transmission, a 3.73 rear axle ratio, and a dual exhaust system. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 in 9.1 seconds and complete the quarter mile in 16.6 seconds. The 1985 model year was the first of the 3-year run of the 442, which ended in 1987 with the discontinuation of the rear-wheel drive Cutlass. Only 3,000 units were made in 1985, making it a rare and collectible car today. The Supersport version was first offered in 1983 as a response to the success of the NASCAR racing cars that used the Monte Carlo body style. It has a 5.0-liter V8 engine, a 4-speed automatic transmission, and a 3.73 rear axle ratio for better acceleration. With 180 horsepower and 225 pound-feet of torque, the SS can sprint to 60 miles per hour in 7.8 seconds and complete a quarter mile in 15.9 seconds. The Monte Carlo SS was one of the last rear-wheel drive coupes produced by Chevrolet before it switched to front-wheel drive platforms in the late 1980s. A total of nearly 155,000 SSs were produced from 1983 to 1988.
Motor Trend's Car of the Year Award. The automotive industry has always taken it seriously, and 3 of the last 4 years, Ford has taken it home. This is Ford's latest award winner, the new Thunderbird SC. It's not only Motor Trend's 1989 Car of the Year, it's further evidence Ford is winning the world over.
The SC, which stood for Super Coupe, was the top model in the Thunderbird lineup. It featured a supercharged 3.8-liter V6 engine, making 210 horsepower and 315 pound-feet of torque. It also had a 4-wheel independent suspension, 4-wheel disc brakes, speed-sensitive power steering, and a traction control system. The SC was available with either a 4-speed automatic or a 5-speed manual transmission. It can go from 0 to 60 in just 6 seconds and complete the quarter mile in 15.9 seconds. The SC was a technological marvel for its time, but it was also expensive and heavy, which limited its sales and popularity. It started at $20,000 in 1989, which was about $41,000 in today's money. The Capri RS 5.0 was part of the second generation of Mercury Capri, which was produced from 1979 to 1986. It was Mercury's attempt to create a European-style pony car that could compete with the Chevrolet Camaro and the Pontiac Firebird. It was powered by a high-output 5-liter V8 engine that produced 175 horses and 245 pound-feet of torque. It also had a 5-speed manual transmission, a performance suspension, and a unique bubble-back rear window that improved aerodynamics. The Capri RS can go from 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds and complete a quarter mile in 15.71 seconds.
It's time to Mustang. Nice car. Price car? Yeah. Ooh, nimble and quick. Mustang, Mustang.
With a roaring V8 engine that unleashed 210 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque, the 1985 Ford Mustang GT 5.0 was a beast on the road. It was the ultimate expression of the Fox body Mustang, the third generation of the iconic muscle car. It could sprint from 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds and blaze through the quarter mile in just 14.9 seconds at an impressive 91 miles per hour. It had a sleek, single grille opening with a proud Ford emblem, replacing the old four-eyed look. It was also the last year that the Mustang GT used a carbureted engine, as Ford switched to electronic fuel injection in 1986. Yenko wanted to create a high-performance Camaro that could compete with the European sports cars of the time. He added a turbocharger kit to the 350 cubic inch V8 engine, boosting its power from 175 to 300 horsepower. He also improved the suspension, brakes, and tires, and added distinctive graphics and badges to the car. Only 19 units of the Turbo Z were made, and it was also the last Yenko Camaro built before Don Yenko died in 1987. The Yenko Camaro Turbo Z was praised by car magazines as the ultimate Camaro and a true American GT, a 0 to 60 in just 5.9 seconds and blazed through the quarter mile in just 14.51 seconds.
Camaro IROC-Z.
Looking so hot, so good. So much thunder under the hood.
The IROC-Z was introduced in 1985 and was available until 1990, when Chevrolet ended its sponsorship of the series. The IROC-Z had a more aggressive appearance and performance than the regular Z28, with a lower suspension, larger wheels, body cladding, spoilers, and decals. It also had a tuned port injection system that improved the power and efficiency of the V8 engine. In 1987, Chevrolet offered the IROC-Z with a 350 cubic inch TPI engine that was previously exclusive to the Corvette. This engine produced 225 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque, making it the most powerful Camaro engine since 1973. The 1987 IROC-Z was one of the fastest and most potent Camaros of its time, capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds and completing the quarter mile in just 14.5 seconds. What made this car unique was that it had a turbocharged 3.8-liter V6 engine from the Buick Grand National, which was one of the most powerful engines of its time. It produced 250 horses and 340 pound-feet of torque and could go from 0 to 60 in just 4.6 seconds and complete the quarter mile in 13.4 seconds at an impressive 101 miles per hour. It was one of the fastest and most potent Trans Ams ever built. Only 1,555 units were made, costing $31,223 each at the time. The car came only in white with a tan interior and had subtle badges and emblems to distinguish it from the regular Trans Am. The GNX, which stood for Grand National Experimental, was the result of a collaboration between Buick and McLaren Performance Technologies ASC. With a turbocharged 3.8-liter V6 engine that unleashed 300 horses and 380 pound-feet of torque, the GNX was a beast on wheels. It could sprint from 0 to 60 in a mere 4.7 seconds and blaze through a quarter mile in 12.7 seconds at an impressive 113 miles per hour. The GNX was the ultimate Grand National. Leaving behind many other muscle cars of its era, the GNX was the last of its kind, as the rear-wheel drive Regal was retired after 1987. Today, the GNX is a rare and coveted collector's car, fetching over $200,000 in some cases.